Hello and welcome to Lokmanya. We all know that on 15th and 14th of August, India and Pakistan got their independence. But what most of us don't know that days before that, there was another nation in South Asia which also got its independence. It was the state of Kalat, or as we know it today, Balochistan, that got its independence on 11th of August 1947. Today, when Pakistan likes to cry foul so-called occupation by India of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, it conveniently ignores its own illegal occupation of Balochistan. To talk about this, today we have with us Mr. Hakeem Baloch. He's a young nationalist Balochi leader and he's the president of Baloch National Movement UK Zone. We also have with us Mr. Mark Kindra. He's a geopolitical analyst and a Balochistan expert. Hello, Mark.
Hi. Hello.
So I'll straight away begin with you, Mr. Baloch. Currently, you're the president of Baloch National Movement UK Zone. So when did you come to UK, and could you please tell us about your political journey?
First of all, thank you very much giving me a chance to speak about the Balochistan and for my people on your platform. So I came in UK on June 2011, so let's say 9 years back. And I was part of Baloch National Movement even before coming the United Kingdom. I was part of Baloch National Movement when I was in Karachi. It was in 2008. So, and that's my actual political journey from where it begins. From 2008, I joined the Baloch National Movement. And after that, I was become a local leader of Karachi region. Was the joint secretary of that region. And after that, when the situation was changed, when many of our colleagues, president of Baloch National Movement, Ghulam Muhammad Baloch, another senior leader of Baloch National Movement, Lala Munir Baloch, and the Secretary General of Baloch Republican Party, Sher Muhammad Baloch, they were abducted in April 2009, and they were killed a week later. And after that, the political scenario was changed. But even after that, the Baloch National Movement, the Baloch Republican Party, the Baloch Student Organization Azad, they were trying to take their political struggle ahead. But within a couple of years, everything was changed, and the Pakistan Army used it full force. And many like me, we were forced to leave our motherland and to flee wherever we could. I was lucky. I came in UK. Some of our friends, they went in other parts of Europe, United States of America. Some of them, they were not that lucky. They went to Middle East, and like thousands of Baloch are still in exile in neighborhood countries or in Europe. So I am one of them, those who were, I think, lucky enough to run away from Balochistan to save their life and to be a voice of the freedom outside Balochistan.
Right. What I would also like to know is that BNM has changed its stance from provincial autonomy with Pakistan to independence in the past. So what is the current stance of BNM? And when it speaks of independence, does it speak only about the area occupied by Pakistan or Balochistan's area in Iran and Afghanistan as well?
You see, first of all, we have to understand the Baloch National Movement was actually found, if I'm not wrong, I think that's 1986. That was the actual timing when the Baloch National Movement, when it was Balochistan National Movement or Balochistan Youth National Movement. It was founded by the Baloch leaders of that time, the middle class leadership. So when it was founded, so yes, it was not openly talking about freedom of Balochistan on that time, because the political struggle of that time, that was changed from the freedom to the provincial autonomy and all. But in late 2003 and early 2004, when Ghulam Muhammad Baloch, the founder and president of Balochistan, who was killed by Pakistan Army, he took a stance that the Baloch National Movement will only struggle for a free and independent Balochistan. And when we talk about the Balochistan, that definitely means Balochistan. But there are some facts, some historical facts we need to understand, and we believe that the Baloch national movement currently is struggling only a part of Balochistan where we are based. It's not like the if I'm living in UK and I can say yes, I can free everywhere I want to free. I can only talk about the place where I have people, where I have power, where I have political power, where masses support my struggle, where I can understand the mentality of the masses and the masses understand the mentality and the ideology of Balochistan. So if we talk about the historical facts, Balochistan was a free and sovereign country from 1666 when the actual boundaries of Balochistan was, I must say, made by the that time Khan of Kalat, Turi Nasir Khan. And we believe that Balochistan was forcefully divided by the British forces into three different parts. So Eastern Balochistan, Western Balochistan, and the part which is in Afghanistan. If I talk about something and I'm not able to do practically something that's, I think, worthless or to talk anyway.
Hmm. Right, right. And you spoke about the Baloch student organization as well. It has been active in politics since the late 1960s, and it still
Mhm,
sees a bit of support. Uh, but do
mhm.
you think there are forces there, there are people there who are trying to foment disunity among various political organizations of Balochistan? And what can the Balochi youth do about this disunity?
See, there's something which we need to understand. This is not only the problem with the people of Balochistan. When you are under the occupation of an occupation force, they will try to dismantle your struggle in various ways. They will try to use, in Pakistan, of course, they are still using the ideology of Britain divide and rule. So yes, there are different political parties. There are various factions of Baloch students organization, but what we saw, what we have seen, the masses have given their full support to the struggle of freedom. If there was no support from the masses, then there won't be that much bloodshed. There won't be that much number of missing persons. There won't be that much people. They are still we don't know where they are. The numbers are in thousands. More than 40,000 people are missing because they have supported the Baloch freedom cause. They have not supported the cause which Pakistan is giving to the people, or they are trying to create division among the people of Balochistan. And of course, when there are struggle, there are differences of not maybe not the ideology, but the strategical differences. So that's why there we see there like there is Baloch Republican Party and there is Baloch National Movement, and both of these political parties are actually, I think, they are the biggest stakeholders of Balochistan as political parties, because they are the parties they based in Balochistan, and they have started their struggle from the grounds of Balochistan, and they still exist in Balochistan.
Right.
Maybe they don't exist the way they existed before, but they still exist in Balochistan. Yeah.
Right, right. I would like to come to you, Mark, at this
Mhm.
point. Would you like to comment on this as about how different Baloch organizations can further their cause by being more united or taking a more united stand?
So if you see a lot of people are apprehensive about Baloch organizations and their unity, and a lot of people say that they are not united. Well, there is a pro side and there is a con side to it. Of course, con everybody knows. The pro side to it is that there are many organizations. Everybody has their own viewpoint as to the struggle and how to move forward. But the goal is one. The aim is one. At least that part everybody is clear with. How they want to get to the goal can differ, which is also good. And and the example is very similar to India, because when India was trying to get independent, there were a lot of political parties. There was Communist Party. There was a Congress Party, of course. there was Hindu Mahasabha, there was uh, uh, again Congress, which was led by Subhash Chandra Bose, and then he eventually, formed an armed struggle against the British. So, but the aim was one again. And also, and very important point is that, which we have seen in multiple recent cases as well, that when a political party is centralized to the core, and if, when everybody is, functioning under one, and if that center is broken or crushed, the whole movement dies.
Right.
So in that part, disunity in some aspects can be a good and a boon for the movement actually.
Right. Right. On that note, I would like to ask you, Mr. Hakim, that we all know that Pakistan has not really invested in the infrastructure or in the education of common Balochis, like you said, the middle class Balochis. But some people, like yourself, have been lucky to move outside Balochistan, and you have been well educated. So there is a group of people, there is a group of young Balochis who is now well educated. What role do you see for them in this freedom struggle?
You see, Pakistan or any other occupiers never allow the people of the occupied land to be well educated, or at least to be educated on that level to understand what's their problem are. So when we talk about the infrastructure and education, there's nothing given by Pakistan or its establishment or anyone else. But there is always I think the Baloch youth have this sense, have this understanding, or the our eldest, the one struggle before us, they have given us this legacy that no matter how hard they make it for you to get your education, you have to go to their education institutes. You have to go to the schools, to the colleges, to the universities. We have examples like Professor Sabah Dashtiyari, Sir Zayed Baloch. They were the educationists, they were the teachers and professors killed by the Pakistan army. There are many, I just recall their names, but there are many. And when you say what role they can play in Baloch struggle, I can give you some examples. When it comes to political struggle, there are many Baloch activists, those who are in Balochistan and outside Balochistan nowadays. I can tell this because I am working with Baloch lawyers, I am working with Baloch economists, I myself is studying media production, and there's many other students and activists. They are getting well education. Similarly, I remember in the same year there were two Baloch students. One of them, I think both of them, they were students of MPhil. One of them was a student of PhD, if I'm not wrong. But they both completed their masters, Shadad Baloch and Ehsan Baloch, and they were killed in a battle with Pakistan army in Kalat region. So that's
Okay.
something which I think the Baloch youth are telling to the world, that they have no other options. Even after completing master degrees from one of the best Pakistan university, they choose to fight against this occupation. If they wanted, they could be part of the establishment, they could get a good job in Islamabad, and they could live their personal life. But they have seen that this is not a worthy job or a worthy task to you. Instead, they have stood for their right and for their freedom.
Right, right. That actually gives us a very unique insight into the dreams and aspirations of young Balochis. Uh, my another question to I would take this question to both of you actually is as an Indian,
Mhm.
and since most of our audience is Indians, I would like to know what
Mhm.
do you think India and Indians, not just living in India but all over the world, can do to support the Baloch cause?
India is the regional power. So when we talk about the support from India, we need India to be more specific. There must be a foreign policy. Now the Baloch has a struggle, which is the current struggle, which is more than 20 years old, both armed and political struggle. This is a legitimate struggle, and the people are struggling without any foreign support as far as I know. But we have seen recently the Prime Minister of India given a
Mhm.
statement regarding the Balochistan, and we see some seriousness in the Indian media and in the government. In past, we have heard some statement, but they were just a statement, and they went through just passes by. But for now, as I was discussing this with a senior colleague yesterday, and according to him, what we really need a country that can take our case on an international level, where
Right.
Baloch can actually tell the world, look, this is my case, that is what happened to me. Pakistan broke all these agreement which made with the Britain government, and India was part of that process. And sorry, as you begin, you said the freedom of Pakistan and India. Unfortunately, that was the partition of India. There was no such thing as freedom of Pakistan. It was
Yeah.
just a partition of India, and they created Pakistan. But when all this was happening, the leadership of Congress, the Indian government of that time, everyone was aware. And of course, there must be some documents, and there are some documents which I have seen recently appeared on social media. There's a deal between the Baloch Khan and the Viceroy, and with the Pakistan's governor of that time, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, that they will not take over Balochistan. But unfortunately, I must say, the Britain betrayed Balochistan, and they allow the Pakistan army, the Pakistan government to occupy Balochistan. So that is why in today's situation, India can be a best option for the people of Baloch to take their cause on an international level. Because as a Baloch, no matter where we go, we are a part of that conflict. But when an international country like India and a neutral state like India take over this case, just like as you mentioned Kashmir earlier, Pakistan is openly and in on every platform taking that case, then why not? India can be a voice on that level. I know India is people actually, they are supporting the Baloch cause a lot more than the Indian government. I must say that because I've seen
Right.
thousands of Indian social media activists, individuals, people in power. They are trying to reach out to us, and they are giving their support, just like yourself and your team. So thank you for that as well. And yes, I think India can take us the Baloch case to the international platforms, to platforms like International Court of Justice, to the United Nations on a broader way than the Baloch can do it by itself. Yeah, thank you.
Right. Right. Mark, would you like to add something to it? What, as an
Yes.
Indian, and what can we do for this Baloch cause?
So I would like to start and go towards history because we are in the Independence Day week.
Yeah.
So a bit of history never disappoints. So basically, if you see, there were two prominent cases which has happened just before India was trying to get independent. There have been certain reports which states that the Khan of Kalat actually has sent emissaries to the then Congress party before independence, that help us in supporting independent Balochistan, but India was reluctant to support that for various reasons, geopolitics and British and many others. Then, when Kalat state actually declared independence on 11th August 1947, then also India didn't really accept it and say that, okay, we finally agree that you're an independent state. And when they found that Pakistan is trying to capture over the territories of Balochistan, uh, Khan of Kalat again sent emissaries that fine. That, they thought to make a provision that will accede to India. Again, there are various reports, nothing confirmed, but it was an interesting dynamic. Then also, India was reluctant because of its geopolitical myopicness. That they didn't thought about it from that angle, and they were just concentrated inwards. So that was that. I think those were two big blunders which India did, and India has a moral responsibility towards Balochistan, and I do not know what the Indian government, if can, should do, but at least Indian people, from and at least they have the moral responsibility that they should support Balochistan and Baloch people to whatever extent is possible.
Right, right. Uh, Mr. Hakeem Baloch and Mark,
Yeah.
thank you for coming here today, and especially to you, Mr. Hakeem, on this occasion of 11th of August. I would like to wish you a happy Independence Day, and
Thank you. Same to you.
thank you, sir. And I really hope, and I would like to pray for your cause, and I really hope that someday the dreams and aspirations of the Balochi youth come true. Thank you,
Thank
both of you, once again for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.